Oh my goodness!
Women's sports, like men's, have had strange, extreme, and bizarre moments over the years. It is possible that you have missed out on some of the action. Women's sports have everything from bloopers to incredibly funny moments and bone-chilling twists. So join us as we explore 15 of these strangest moments in women's sports. Number 15. Chang Yanni stuns the world in an after-injury comeback. It is a story of how the strangest moments in life can be a motivation. In a peculiar turn of events, Chang Yanni dazzled the world by clinching the bronze award at the Diving World Cup in 2021. It was another competition day in Tokyo at the last 3-meter diving competition round. It was Chang's turn to dive into deciding the fate of her country at that stage of the competition. As usual for all expert divers, Chang had made the first set of jumps that should launch her diver into the water. But a rather bizarre turn of events, the springboard recoil threw her off balance at a very dangerous angle. You need no professional to tell you that Chang was injured at such an angle. Oh well, this was a competition after all. An injury of such seriousness reduces your chances of winning anything. As far as everyone was concerned, Chang was done for the competition. To give you a little background, won all 4 series in the FINA World Cup in 2016. She also won 2 gold medals in the women's synchronized 3-meter springboard event in 2017. Her winning streak did not stop there. Chang and her partner became world champions at the aquatic competition in 2017 and won 2 gold medals at world events a year later. For a player to crash out due to a springboard incident would be a shame. Chang returned to the competition 24 hours after the injury in a more absurd turn of events. There was no stopping. She proceeded to dazzle the world by winning the bronze medal, despite the injury putting her at a handicap. What a woman, what a moment. Number 14. Abby Dennis wins a hurdle race after falling at the start of the game. The case of Abby Dennis is somewhat similar to Chang Yanni's. Abby Dennis is a high school girl who goes on to win the hurdle race after falling at the start of the Bergen County Championship in 2022. It was a sunny May afternoon at the Old Tappan High School, New Jersey. Abby started the 100 hurdle race with the other participants and tripped after an unfortunate jump at the second hurdle. Of course, falls like this are not strange in a hurdle race, but in Abby's case, her fall was caused by the error of another competitor. She took the fall for another person's mistake. Immediately after the fall, Abby, rather unflinching, picked herself up to continue the race. Abby, determined, pulls an incredible comeback from behind to win the race. Not only was her win apparent, but she also won the finals an hour later. Number 13. Sherrock shocks the world at darts throwing competition by knocking men out.
Sherrock smashes the glass ceiling and wins at the World Darts Championship.
In another strange win for women's sports, Fallon Sherrock defeated men to win a men-dominated darts championship at the Ali Pali in 2019. Here is how it happened. Although Fallon was a skilled player at the game of darts, her name was relatively unknown. Here is a woman playing among men in a game that many people do not follow. She was the runner-up in the 2015 BDO Women's Darts Championship. Regardless of her history, the odds were still not in her favor. This is a professional darts competition, and these are men that have played all their lives. Fallon's first few matches at the championship were a bit nerve-wracking. She was 2 sets behind until she clinched a win against Ted Evett to advance to the second round. Her next match after Ted was Mensur Slovic, who was one of the best in the game. In a rather breathtaking experience, Sherrock defeated Mensur 3-1 in the second round. Her victory caused one of the biggest sports jubilations London has ever known. Alexander's Palace was up in big cheers and partying Sherrock, the Wonder Woman. Number 12. Woman disqualified 8 years after winning an Olympics gold medal. The case of Dong Fengzhou came to the whole world as a shocker in 2008 when the Olympics stripped her of her gold medal due to age controversies. You may be wondering why happened. For one, Dong won the gold medal at the 2000 Olympics as a gymnast. When she won the gold medal, no one raised a flag or made any complaints. However, almost 8 years after the event, Olympic officials made discoveries that she was just 14 when she participated in 2000. For context, participants in the Olympics must be 16 years old or above to join in the competition. The rather unfortunate revelation was made after investigation led by the International Olympic Committee. Dong was eventually stripped of her gold medal and her results of the 2000 Olympics were void. A little background on Dong shows that she started competing as a senior gymnast too early. She was invited to the Chinese national team as a 7-year-old. She even won the Chinese team a bronze medal in the 1999 World Championships. The consequences of her age falsification generated reactions from enthusiasts of the sports. Some even proposed that the age be reduced, and some thought the decision was unfair to the little girl. To others, the rules were rules and they should not be bent for anyone. Number 11, Radwanska's racket explodes mid-match after intense rounds of rallying. Every strange thing you could think of in tennis has happened at the Australian Open. Women protesting on the court, fans losing their cool, and disrupting matches, you name it. However, our favorite for today is the incident of the exploding rackets. This incident is beyond just funny. It is also bizarre. In the 2011 Australian Open, Agnieszka Radwanska lost her racket while playing Japanese star Kumiko Date in what looked like an explosion. It was the event's first round and the competition was very tight. As usual, for such close games, the duo was locked in a 5-5 draw, and Date was to make the deciding serve. Radwanska held the serve, and the match proceeded to a deuce. In a rather climactic occurrence, Radwanska's racket snapped suddenly, like an event straight out of the comic books. Of course, you just had to be there to witness the intense pressure in the atmosphere and the comic relief the snapping racket provided. Radwanska's reaction would have made the video of social media sensations years after the match. Although you may have a different opinion, this is the funniest moment the Australian Open has ever seen. And oh, just so you know, she won the match. And no, she did not lose any more rackets till the tournament was over. She proceeded to make significant wins against veteran players like Simona Halep and Petra Martic, and eventually placed 12th in the competition. Number 10, woman channels inner Hugh Jackman in an arm wrestling competition. If you think some previous incidents were funny, wait until you see the Screaming Woman. The clip of the Screaming Woman surfaced at the 2013 World Arm Wrestling Championship held in Lithuania. There are a number of things that can make a woman scream. It could be a passion, pain, or even surprise. It is also not rare to see a woman scream from effort, but it is not every day you see a woman scream very loud and intensely in an arm wrestling competition. In a match against an Ukrainian in Drusikinkai, this woman screams in an intense show of effort. The scream was so loud and strange, it was almost maniacal. As some media people reported, she was channeling her inner Sylvester Stallone. However, efforts alone do not get you a victory in an arm wrestling competition. The Screaming Woman lost to her relatively calm Ukrainian counterpart. And although she did not win the wrestling of arms, she won in the wrestling of spirit. Her clips had the streets amused for weeks after the event. Number 9, raging fan stabs tennis champion right on the tennis court. The incident with Monica Seles and Magdalena Malieva in 1992 is perhaps the strangest and most gruesome in the history of tennis and women's sports in general. The quarterfinals match was held at the Virginia Simps Championship. Tennis fans had anticipated the game for a long time. One of the players, Monica Seles, had been dubbed by some of the greatest player to ever pick up a racket. Only a few men and women have been able to achieve the status of world champion at the age of 19. But Monica did, and no sooner than she did, she had a career-ending injury. The match progressed quite intensely, and after the second set, the referee called a break. No one, absolutely no one, would have thought that a tennis player would be assaulted during a game. When Seles bent down to drink, she was stabbed in the back by a man later identified as Gunther Parch. The stab was quick, sudden, and with a 9-inch knife. No one noticed Gunther move close enough. No one saw him bring out the knife. The 38-year-old charged at Sells twice, barely missing her spin and any vital organ on her body. The wound might have been deeper if Sells had not been bent over to drive water. It might have damaged her organs enough to kill her. Now you would think that Sells was connected to Gunther somehow. Maybe like in the movies, she was an ex-lover. She could have well been a family member of Gunther's oppressors. However, the reason is more straightforward and stranger than that. Gunther stabbed Sells to allow a rival player named Steffi Graf to proceed through the tournament. Fandom could be crazy, but would probably never see a crazier demonstration. Although Sells did not die from the incident, she lost the match and 2 good years of her life to recovery. Gunther was convicted but did not get more than a suspended sentence. He was diagnosed as mentally ill. The good part of this bizarre occurrence is that Sells returned and won the US Grand Slams. She would later win other Grand Slams and big matches against tough opponents. The stab, however, affected her confidence and she never played in some competitions for fear of attacks. She eventually retired from tennis in 2008 as a result of injuries. Number 8, super resilient woman completes 4 kilometers on her bare feet. In this strange moment, you could easily pass the athlete as someone with superpowers. Here is what happened. In 2020, all-Japanese industrial team women's Ikiden, a 29-year-old Hiromi Kidaga, lost both of her shoes on the course in a bizarre manner. To date, people have yet to explain why both shoes came off. It could be due to bad shoe quality or the athlete's carelessness. However, the latter is less likely because Hiromi is a professional athlete. After she lost both shoes in the 10.9-kilometer race, she completed 4 kilometers on barefoot. For context, that is like running twice around the standard track. Hiromi complained that her shoelaces were loosening. When she picked up speed, both shoes flew off around the 6-kilometer mark. Although she placed 16th in her batch, Hiromi's race is an example of how much grit women can have, even in the strangest circumstance. Hiromi completed the 10.9K segment in 36 minutes and 33 seconds with no shoes on. At the end of the race, Mitsui Sumimoto Insurance, her company, finished 13. Her feet were also bruised and bloodied, but she suffered no severe injuries. Were her feet stronger? How did she run 4 km on a hot track? We will never know. Some people are born to do extraordinary things. Number 7, parrot flying into football pitch during the Brazil women's U20 game and landing on a player's head. This is something no one would ever imagine happening on a football field. We have seen football matches get delayed for 1 or 2 reasons, perhaps due to a fan that disrupted the gameplay by coming onto the pitch or due to a hard tackle that resulted in an injury. Funny enough, that was not the reason why this match was paused. The under-20s women's soccer match in Brazil was paused because of a bird. This bird, a blue and gold macaw, entered the football pitch and landed on the head of a footballer. As the bird landed on her head, football officials swooped in almost immediately to save the footballer from suffering any damage to the bird's claws. So they devised a form of distraction, the ball of play. That worked quite all right as the bird took an interest in the ball and hopped on it before flying over to the goalkeeper's post and then out of the stadium. The situation was explained in an Instagram post saying that the parrot is often a visitor to the stadium and is a local family pet. However, the bird decided it would like to be a part of the game instead, flying over the pitch and landing on her head before being coaxed off and out of the stadium. That must have been a hard situation to have a bird on its head during a football match. At least she escaped, luckily. Number 5. Butterfly lands on Naomi Osaka's body during the Australian Open. While some things may appear strange, some might be cute as well. This happened during the second set of her Australian Open third round course, and a fan alerted her and told her that a butterfly was on her leg. In response, Osaka reached down and took the butterfly into her left hand. It seemed like the butterfly wanted to be a part of the game, and the match intruder decided to glide into the air and make a final touchdown on her nose. She gently captured the butterfly again and ushered it to safety on the sidelines before returning it to her teammate. That beautiful encounter with the butterfly had the fans showering rounds of applause for the tennis star, which was such an adorable moment. Number 4-year-old Brazilian girl winning the first skateboarding competition at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. Imagine a 13-year-old girl breaking massive Olympic records. This is hugely strange but mesmerizing. Presenting to you, Raisa Leo. Raisa is the Brazilian skateboarder who won the first skateboarding competition at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. Raisa is an absolute sensation back home. She etched her name in the books of Olympic history. She became Brazil's youngest ever Olympic medalist, winning second place in the women's street skateboarding competition. However, Reisa is not only a young girl to make history, another 13-year-old skateboarder, Japan's Momi Nishia, also set a record. This is ushering in a new era because have 13-year-old kids win and break records at the Olympics? That's just on a different level. Regardless, these kids love what they do and are good at it, and they're also well organized by skateboard legends like Tom Hawk. Tom Hawk himself posted one of Reisa's videos when she was 7 and skateboarding in a fairy costume, and he commented her skateboarding skills. Number 2, Chang Hae-jin's perfect archery in the 2018 Olympics. Archery is a game loved by all, and the Olympics also respect it, but one particular player from South Korea proved unmatchable in the first stage of the 2018 season's World Cup series, totaling 6 gold medals and 10 in total, to finish top in the Shanghai medal table at the event that took place in its unusual location within the city of Pudong financial area. Up against China's An Quan, making her international debut at her home, the 30-year-old was sublime. I knew I had to shoot a 10 to win. I believed in my performance and its routine and practice in Korea. She dropped 2 points in 3 sets and made the match 6-0 and possibly posted the best recurve group ever filmed. In the second set, she landed all 3 of her arrows in the X ring in a group measuring no more than 3 centimeters side to side. The victory secured a guaranteed place at the series final in Samson at the end of the season under a new world archery rules. Number 1, defense champion falls face flat in hurdles race. Having a defending champion lose can be one of the most painful things to ever happen, and America's American Nia Ali understands how that feels. This was after her participation in the 100 meters hurdles title defense at the World Championships, but ended abruptly after she hit a hurdle and crashed out of the heats. The American had the early lead, was battling Jamaican Brittany Anderson when disaster struck. She scraped her knee on the penultimate barrier at Hayward Field and went downhill. Ali wobbled and tried to recover, but she could not regain her momentum and she could not get her lead leg over the final hurdle and fell onto the track. She could only watch as the rest of the field crossed the line, with her training partner Anderson winning the heat in 12.59. "I just let my technique get away from me and it cost me everything," said Ali, adding this was the first time that just happened to her. It was a huge loss, but that also made it so strange that she had a good start only to lose her title due to one mistake. What do you think of these moments? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.